Hi there, and welcome to our Social Media for Beginners webinar. My name's Chloe Mustafa, and I'm a marketing exec for Vuzion.
And my name's Jess, and I'm also a marketing executive for Vuzion. So we're really excited for this webinar today, where we are going to be talking about social media for beginners. So we're not going to be going into any sort of level of deep detail today. This is for those of you who are just starting out, want to get your brand out there on social media, and we will be doing further webinars in the future that are going to look more in depth into these topics. So why is social media important?
We understand how difficult it can be to have a social media sort of conversation within your business, but social media really is a huge opportunity to reach people outside of your database. There are 42 million social media users within the UK alone, and a quarter of those check their social media more than 10 times a day. I know I'm guilty of doing it more than 10 times a day, and I'm pretty sure Jess here will agree with me. And without being on social media, you're missing out on these key hundreds and thousands of touch points of people within your industry, the tech industry, or even the IT industry. And it allows you to
definitely establish yourself as a thought leader within your industry, sharing influence amongst your existing clients, your connections, your followers on Twitter, and most importantly, key opportunities. By using social media, you are front of mind for these people, and they're seeing your name and seeing your brand out there all the time.
It's also, a lot of marketing channels such as email is a one-way conversation. We're pretty sure you all read our newsletters and hopefully you enjoy them, but we never really get any sort of conversation from that. Whereas social media is all about creating a conversation. You can really jump into chats with certain people on social media, and from the very first post and the very first piece of engagement that you have, you are humanizing your brand, and that is so important in this day and age. And also, as you can see below, 66% of B2B buyers think that companies should make it easier for them to access your content. And we work hard to create great content, blogs and ebooks. Why wouldn't you want to show that off? And social media is a great way to tease people into going to your website, looking at your content without having to necessarily give over a piece of their data. They might not be ready to give you their email address, but in a few weeks, in a month's time, they will be. And social media is a great way to start that conversation.
Definitely. And the best place to start is with your profile. So we've spoken to quite a few different partners on the phone, and we've kind of seen that consistent branding is maybe something that's lacking there. And so we think it's so important for your customers, for your prospects, to, when they see your brand online, whatever platform it is, they should be able to instantly recognize you. So really make sure that you've got your logo as your profile picture. You want to make sure that you're filling in your About Me section, the About Us bit, with consistent messaging across all your platforms, link to your website wherever there's the opportunity. And if you've got a campaign running, instead of changing your profile picture, utilize the cover photo function as well, because you want to make sure that you're really consistent across it. Ensure your messaging is consistent, and make it as easily recognizable as possible.
And that goes, if you've got members of your sales team that want to use their LinkedIn to help with their sales, make sure that their messaging is consistent as well. Think about what profile, what picture they're using. Yeah. We see some people's LinkedIn where it's a beach shot of them on holiday, and it's just not appropriate for the sort of conversations you're going to be having. So just use a little bit of logic behind it, really. But now that you've got your profile up and running, we just want to break down a little bit of the things that you might be seeing on social media profiles a lot, like hashtags, like mentions. And we always get asked, what is a hashtag? And a hashtag is a great way to search and discover posts that use that particular hashtag. So for example, hashtag Azure, if you tag a post using hashtag Azure, when people search for it, they will see your post in and amongst all of the other relevant hashtag Azure posts. Yeah. Think of it of Google for Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. And also, hashtags are a great way to boost a campaign, promote an event. You might be attending our upcoming Love Cloud event that we have in April. If you'll see that we'll probably be using hashtag Love Cloud. So it enables people who might not have the opportunity to attend, so they can see what they're missing out on, see what we do, and maybe next time they will attend because they've seen it, they've seen how much fun people have, and the brand that's out there. You can also, use hashtags to discover wider audiences. Don't feel free to just, see what other topics are out there. And, there's posts that use hashtags see a 50% increase in engagement, and they are far more likely to be shared by people if they do use a hashtag.
The only thing is, though, is don't get too hashtag happy. So we do see partners go the other way as well, where they'll do a post which is kind of all hashtags, all mentions, and it's really hard to read. So we do have some best practice around that.
Yes, definitely. Like, using too many hashtags can actually have a negative impact on your post. So we recommend no more than 3 hashtags on Twitter, less for Facebook, LinkedIn. Think 1 or 2 for Facebook or LinkedIn. And, you know, just try and think what sort of general hashtags are out there, like Friday feeling, Monday motivation. The more you use them, the more you'll discover.
Yeah, on Twitter, there's a really handy bar on the left-hand side, which will tell you what's trending as well. So that means that they're hashtags that lots of people are using. So feel free, if it's relevant for your business and for your customers, get involved in those conversations.
Definitely. And also, you can have more direct conversations with people using a mention, which is the @ sign that you can see on the right-hand side. It calls out a particular person or a profile and enables you to have conversations with those people or shout out to them. You know, and similar to when you use, you know, tag someone in a status on your Facebook or someone in a picture on your Facebook, that person will receive a notification that they've been mentioned, and it will lead them to your profile to see the post that you're looking at, and then hopefully engage in a conversation. And don't be afraid to, you know, start talking to people, jump straight into conversations that are relevant to the hashtag that you're using, or, you know, simply say thank you. Recognition goes a long way on social media, especially when it comes to humanizing your brand. Yeah. Don't be afraid to connect and reach out.
Definitely.
Next thing, you know, one of the next things that we hear a lot is, I don't have the time to do social media. And we hear this probably more often than anything else, but it really goes without saying that the more you put into social media, the more you will get out from it.
Definitely.
You're not going to gain thousands of followers overnight. So you really need to make a commitment to ensuring that you are posting regularly to your company and your personal profile pages. You know, 64% of marketers use social media for 6 hours or more a week, but that's a key part of their job. You really need probably about 10, 15 minutes a day just to, you know, schedule your posts up. We're going to talk about tools and how you can make sure you're organized a little bit later. But set reminders, make an example for the rest of your staff, and more importantly, stay organized.
Definitely. And consistency really is key with your social media. I mean, as millennials, me and Chloe often say, if we're meeting with a new business or even in a B2C capacity and going to engage with a brand, well, more often than not, we will check their social profile.
Yeah, like I follow my energy provider on Twitter. Who does that anyway?
And so it's just a really good way of getting to know a brand. What are they like? You know, what's their tone of voice? And so if you as a brand have conflicting messages, if you've got different tones of voice, or you're posting really sporadically, customers and prospects are likely to kind of feel confused about who you really are as a brand, and sometimes maybe less likely to choose you as well as a provider. So we obviously want our brand to be seen to be trusted, and the same with you. So you want to be seen as a thought leader. So consistently posting valuable content is really key. If someone gets to your profile and sees, you know, you posted once on the 5th of November 2016 and then once last year and that's it, it's not really setting a good tone for showing that you're a really innovative company, that you've got valuable content to give, and that you will make a difference to them. So and you also really have a great opportunity to create brand personality as well. So make sure you're staying consistent with your tone of voice there as well.
I mean, for me, when I see a profile that hasn't posted, or there's huge gaps in their posting, I think, well, they're lazy in their social posting. If they're lazy with that, what else are they lazy with? You want to create trust with these people. And, you know, consistency is obviously a very great way of doing that.
Definitely. And staying front of mind for prospects just does show that you're continuing to innovate, you're continuing to add value. If you've got these profiles, make the most of them. Don't just leave them hanging. And 70% of a buyer's journey is completed before a buyer even reaches out to sales. I'm sure that's something that you've already heard. And so utilizing and making the most of your social profiles is really a big part of that. And so getting organized is key. For me and Chloe, implementing a social calendar has revolutionized our lives. I would even go as far to say.
I think I'd agree with you there.
And so obviously you can see a very, very simple example on the board, on the slide, sorry. We do have a template that we made, so we're more than happy to share that after the webinar if you'd like something to help you get started. But planning just makes social so much easier. You don't have to think of what to post every day, and it also means you're so much more likely to stick to it. So we recommend using a simple content calendar and take time in your diary, maybe once a week, maybe fortnightly, to fill out what you'd like to post. I mean, initially for us, we spent a couple of hours hashing it out, and then now we spend maybe 30 minutes a fortnight filling in what we'll do for the next 2 weeks. It's a really good opportunity to sit down as well if you're in a team doing it. Maybe it's just you, but to sit and brainstorm, and it also makes you think of campaigns you could do as well, rather than each day just thinking, oh, is there a blog I can post now?
Yeah, you'll find that you're not panic posting, so you can really think about what you're doing within a week and make it almost like a nice sort of leading into each and every single post. So from a blog to an ebook and then maybe to an event, for example.
Yeah, exactly. You can do kind of mini campaigns if you like. You can even pre-write your posts and keep them in your spreadsheet. That's where our content calendar is. Me and Chloe keep our content calendar within Microsoft Teams. And then once we've done a post, we'll highlight the cell in green, and then obviously that updates for both of us so we can see that the post is done. That's also really helpful if you've got a team where where more than one person has access to the social media, because if someone's away on holiday, if they go home sick, you know what's been planned, and you can really upkeep it as well, so that there's no sort of week-long gap when someone's on holiday. You can also use tools as well to help you post. That's something that Chloe is going to talk about in a little bit. And we also do keep a kind of ideas tab as well on our calendar, where when we see something useful, we'll just pop it in there, so we've got reference when we go to our next planning session. And so getting organised, you need to know what is the best time for you to post. So for Vuzion, we tend to post 3 times a day, which is a lot. That could be too much for your audience. You just need to think about your audience, think about when are they going to be looking at social media.
So for example, you might have a lot of customers that are based in London or in and around London. Odds are they're getting public transport to work every single day. So it might be worthwhile for you to post outside of work hours. Think like 7:30, 6 o'clock at night, and then 8 a.m. in the morning. And then, those people will probably be scrolling on their phones, on the train, on the bus, and that's when you can catch them. So just think about what your audience is doing, where they're based, how they might be traveling, and you'll probably get some ideas as to when to post as a result.
Exactly. Unfortunately, there's no kind of silver bullet here with a time to post. Try things out. Try doing some morning posts, try doing some lunchtime posts, and see what works best for you. Where are you getting the most engagement? I mean, there is research out there which suggests that if you post on Twitter at lunchtime, that's the best time, because obviously people are eating their lunch, having to scroll through. For LinkedIn, it's actually late morning, obviously, where that's more of a business platform. People do look at that during work hours. And then for Facebook, evenings and weekends are when you're most likely to get engagement. So obviously keep that in mind, but test it. Fits all. And so, as I mentioned, obviously there's tools out there. We're going to talk about content now.
So as just said, now that you know when to post, how to do it, what are you going to post? Well, to be quite honest, you've probably got a whole variety of content at your fingertips on your website. And, blogs that you create, ebooks are a great source of content for creating social media posts. Have a look through and see how a blog or an ebook can be split out into separate posts. So here, for example, I've shown 2 different content pieces on our website. One's an ebook, 9 signs your clients need Azure. I'm sure you've read it. I really hope you enjoyed it. And another one is our 18 essential cloud market trends blog that we did. These generated in total 27 social media posts, because we looked through the content, we evaluated it, we thought how could we present it in different ways. And, you know, from 2 pieces of web content, we nearly got enough content for 2 weeks of social posting. So you've really got to look at the content that you have. So, for example, Jess and I were looking at this webinar and thinking, could it work as a blog? Could we do it as an infographic? Could we, you know, you probably might see in a few weeks' time that we'll be posting about these tips on social media tips on social media. Who would have thought it? So yeah, review your website, reuse content that you've got, and don't be afraid to recycle. But we do understand that sometimes you do struggle to find content, but think about what you've got. Do these posts look the same at a glance? Probably not. And that's the beauty of social media. Things don't necessarily live for very long on social media. 6,000 tweets are created every second on Twitter. So trying to stay fresh in people's minds might not be as complicated as you would think. These 2 posts that you see here, they both lead to the same ebook, but we've changed the image, we've changed the introduction copy. And, you know, this is something that you can do across your platform. So really try and vary your content across your platforms. And if you're only using one platform, that's fine. Don't spread yourself too thinly across these platforms. And, you know, you can share the same link, but change it up each time.
Definitely. And with that to say as well, we have seen other partners where they're actually using different content, but they've used the same image. And especially where our news feeds are so visual now, that's something where maybe they've done themselves a disservice, because people will be scrolling through as you do, and if you see the same image, you're very likely to immediately not even read the caption and assume it's the same content. So really do try and vary up your images. It doesn't have to be drastic, but just something so that the reader really knows that you are posting something different, or it catches their eye.
Yeah, I think I read a stat not so long ago that the human mind attention span is pretty much the same as a goldfish nowadays because of things like social media. So yeah, don't be afraid to try and do something the same, but make sure that it's a little bit different. You know, variety is the spice of life.
Exactly. And also we know that you're not always going to be posting your own content. We definitely don't. And it's because you also want to be seen that you know what's going on in the industry as well. It's not just all about you and your brand. And so for that, we would suggest to just always be on the lookout when you're browsing your own social media news feeds. If you see an article that you think is relevant, bookmark it, keep the link. Maybe it will inspire you for your own blog, or maybe it's something that you'd like to share and you can add a comment to. The same with news as well. When you're watching the news, when you're reading the news, keep these articles to one side, add it to your content calendar, add it to the ideas tab, and just keep a little bank of ideas. We find that really useful. And there also are tools available to help you with that. So you can see on the screen there a screenshot from Feedly. That's the tool we use. I've put in, some other suggestions there as well. Feedly is a paid tool, but all of these tools do have free versions as well. So you can get a feel for it and see if it's something that you think would be helpful. But what Feedly does is it kind of pulls information and news feeds from all over the internet into one place. So you can create your own mini feed. So generally all sorts of things, and it helps you look through. You'll see all of the latest blogs that have been posted with a snippet. You can read a preview, and then if you like it, then directly takes you to that website. So we do find those tools really useful when you're looking for external content to post as well.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. If you see something that's really great, don't be afraid to be inspired by it. And, you know, you can add your own opinion to it, turn it into your own blog post, and just, you know, expand that message a little bit wider as well. Following on from this conversation about tools, this is a little bit more in depth. So if you are just starting out with your brand's social media, you might not think that you're ready for like a social media management tool or a link management tool, but now is a perfect way to start, really, because a lot of these tools are for free. They offer some sort of free plan, and that might be like a basic level where you can only attach free profiles, so like Facebook, your Twitter, and your LinkedIn. But as I said before, it's better to be really good at one side of social media, like Twitter, than to be really bad at all 3 of them, for example. There are a lot of tools out there, social management tools, for example, like Hootsuite. Buffer is another example. We use a tool called We Like It, and it enables you to schedule up your posts so you can do your day or even your week's worth of social posting in one hit. And as Jess said, when you've got a content calendar created, this really does save you loads of time.
Definitely.
It also enables you to quickly engage with customers. Nowadays, 42% of customers expect a response from a company on social media within the hour. And that's really hard to keep track of. So these tools, they send you notifications when you're mentioned. They can send you an email, a pop-up on your screen to let you know that someone has mentioned you. And the same can apply for hashtags. You can easily track hashtags. So like the example that we used before, hashtag Azure, you can always see and you can always follow that pool of hashtags, see what's going on. And as part of raising brand awareness, having that track is such a great help. But even bigger and better than any of that, it enables you to report and analyze on particular posts. So you can see what's working. So you can see what posts aren't working, whether some ebooks are more successful than others, some blogs people tend to click through more than not. It's a way of getting great feedback about your content without actually having to go out and ask your customers for that feedback directly. But we understand, a social media management tool might not be quite what you want at the moment. So we would recommend a link management tool instead. You might have heard of Bitly or Rebrandly as examples of those. And a way of doing it, if you've got a marketing team that are keen to track and report on what is working and what isn't working, they turn links that you can see, really horrible, ugly, long links that you can see on the screen. And if you don't know what that means, they actually look a little bit spammy and you're not quite likely to click on it. And they turn those links into really neat, tidy and consistent styles, as you can see below. And you can make it say whatever you want. So the example we've given here is 20 questions to ask a CSP ebook. So it's gone from that really horrible, ugly looking link to a very nice, consistent link. And it still has that level of tracking and reporting. So you can see your ROI and see your success. And trust me, when you're having that conversation about social media, being able to report back on the success of social media is an absolute must.
Definitely.
But, you're just starting out, so it's not a huge must, but it's something definitely worth thinking about. But more importantly than that,
have fun with it. So obviously we've given you quite a lot of information there, especially when you're starting out, it can feel quite overwhelming, but make sure that you have fun with your social media. It's such a great way to humanize your brand, to show some personality. With other marketing, with email, with web copy, a lot of the time you have to be a lot more professional in your tone. You've got a lot of information to convey, but have some fun with social media. Obviously find the right tone of voice for your audience, but as long as it's appropriate, use emojis, play on words. We often like to join in on the Friday feeling hashtag when people have got cake in the office.
Oh, we love hearing when you have cake in the office.
Love hearing about cake. Post about it. Engage with your customers when they're posting fun things. Engage with them. Comment back. Say that cake looks great. It's a really good opportunity to just be seen as a bit more fun. And obviously in B2B marketing as well, it can seem very serious a lot of the time. But behind all of these businesses are people like you and me. So we all like a little play on words here and there. Yeah. We love to see an emoji. So
we've all got a sense of humour, so go for it.
Exactly. And there's also a great Windows 10 tip that I recently learned. So if you hit the Windows key and the full stop key, this can be anywhere that you're typing, not just on social media. A little menu will pop up with an emoji menu which you can click from, or if you press Windows full stop and then begin typing, it will then find the emoji for the word that you're looking for. And I literally love this tip.
It takes your email to a whole new level.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just pop those emojis here, there and everywhere.
But like hashtags, I just have to say, don't go wild.
Yeah, not too many.
Just, we're not 13-year-old girls on their first mobile phone. Just, remain professional, but yeah, have fun with it. So as just said, there are a lot of key pieces of information that we've hit you with. So we just wanted to really quickly sum it up into 4 key things that we think you should do. And as we've spoken about, great content is so important across all marketing channels, really, and no less so than social media. Look at the content that you've got, see what you can create and see what else you can do with it.
Definitely. And post regularly, even if that's once a day or every other day, whatever target you've set yourself, really try and stick to it. and just make sure that you're consistently getting your brand name out there, that you're popping up on people's news feeds, and that they're seeing you and seeing your content.
Definitely. And don't be afraid to engage often. Try and get into conversations. Don't be afraid to start up a conversation with someone. And if you're really struggling, like, who do I need to talk to? We can send you a list of Microsoft accounts that we think you should follow, and also key vendors of ours as well, just so you can get some conversations going. But also, don't be afraid to contact us. If you want to do a shout out, we're always happy to start having chats with you on social media as well.
Yeah, and we're more than happy to retweet your content, get involved as well, definitely. And the final point is connect. As a brand, make sure you're following all of your key customers' profiles on social media. Make sure you're engaging with them, as we just said. And the other thing as well is get your sales teams to connect when they're speaking to prospects and clients. Make sure that they're connecting on LinkedIn, they're following them on Twitter as well, because when these prospects are making decisions, you want your name to be front of mind all the time.
So just get into the habit, after every meeting, after every email, after every call, check them out on LinkedIn and follow them. It's so important, just because they might not be ready now, but they'll be ready in 6 months' time, and you want your name to be there.
Exactly. And LinkedIn is like your sales account manager's personal CRM.
Oh my God, go wild.
And so with that, we've obviously given you a lot of information, but if you want to pop any questions in the conversation tab, please feel free to. If you've got a key challenge to getting started we haven't addressed, something that's stopping you, a question that we've got quite often is, how do I get people to engage with my posts more? And it's kind of a mixture of the things that we've already said, really. Begin engaging yourself with people's posts. The more that you engage, people are more likely to then engage back with you. Keep consistent and post frequently. Find your right timing for your audience as well, because if you catch them, if you're posting when they're scrolling through, they're more likely to engage with you. And follow those key people. Obviously, Chloe said we're more than happy to provide a list of recommended accounts we'd recommend you follow, but also follow your key customers as well, and prospects, definitely.
And another question is, how do I grow my followers? And there's no quick answer to this. I wish I knew the answer to growing your followers overnight, because we would have hundreds and thousands of followers. But it really is all about making that commitment to social media, being consistent in how often you post, and becoming a key voice, using hashtags and mentions and engaging with the people that follow you. Think about it. If you're attending a big about the event that you're at, and people will follow you as a result. One great example of that is Chris Hord within the Vuzion team. He's made a really big commitment to social, and in less than a year he's gained over 400 followers on Twitter. And he posts often, maybe a little bit too much, but it's clearly working for his audience and the sort of stuff that they're interested in reading. So make the commitment to social media.
We have got a question there, thank you. So wondering about a guideline, what's a good ratio of posts and tweets to shares and retweets? That's a great question.
Do you want me to take it?
If you want to.
Something that we've always, our manager always says to us is a 3-2-1 sort of approach. So it's kind of, post 3 times a day of your own content, engage at least twice, and then like something. Yeah. But that's a kind of general rule. But again, it does really depend on your audience. So you could start off with the 3-2-1 rule, just to see how you get on with it. And, like Jess said, we've gone through periods of time where we've tested posting 3 times a day, once a day, twice a day, not posting at all, but only engaging with people on a certain day. And you'll kind of get yourself into a natural flow that works best for you as a result.
Definitely. And it also does depend, because like we said about getting engaged with events, for example, I'm sure maybe you've seen our Twitter feed when the Microsoft Inspire is on. We are a bit crazy during that week, and we'll be tweeting a lot, but we'll also be retweeting a lot and engaging a lot more than normal. And that's a really great week for us to build more following as well and get our brand out there. But we definitely do a lot more retweets than we normally would. So sometimes it's okay to kind of, obviously there's no set rule, but use your judgment really. And we also do recommend, when you do a retweet, try and add something. So if you're retweeting someone else's blog, write a comment as well and say why you thought it was good, or kind of try to add your own twist on it, your own voice, or add some of your own value as well, rather than just retweeting it mindlessly, if you like.
We've got another question here that asks, have you used Canva to create content for social media before? If yes, do you know where things stand with licensing of the images that they provide?
We don't use Canva all the time, definitely. I've used it a couple of times before, but we don't for Vuzion use it very often. We tend to create those types of images on Photoshop. In terms of licensing, I believe from personally using it that the images should say whether you need to pay for them or they're a kind of free background.
There's also a really handy thing on the Google image search, like it's really basic. It's one of the sort of search filtering options, so you can filter by license. So if you are searching for just generic images, you can filter to see what images are available to reuse or to not reuse, for example. And also, I think we'll have to double check this, but as a partner, you do have access to Microsoft Brand Central, which has loads of stock imagery, really beautiful imagery, and that's where we get the majority of our imagery that you see on our social media posts from. And we layer those up in Photoshop with text or other sort of creative stuff elements to it. But as a baseline for stock imagery, that is a really great thing to have. And if you don't know how to get access to it, please contact your account manager, and I'm sure they will help you figure it out.
Definitely. Hopefully that has helped in terms of answering. If you've got any other questions, then obviously please do get in touch with us. We'd be more than happy to answer further questions, or if you'd like more of an in-depth call, if you kind of would like some more bespoke guidance, I guess, or we've got a lot more questions in terms of getting started, then please do get in touch. Either email us directly or get in touch with your account manager who can connect us that way as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're more than happy to set up calls, no matter how sort of basic your social media levels are. We're more than happy to help you out and get you on your way to creating a really great social media profile and brand. So thank you very much for joining. And we hope to hear from you guys soon.
Thank you.